What's up guys, Chris Dallasay from The Last Checkpoint, bringing you the 5th episode in our Unity 3D beginner series. This video and the next one, video 6, are going to go hand in hand. They both involved the idea of consumables, which we're going to be placing in our game. This first one is going to be creating the consumable object itself. We'll be creating a script to rotate the consumable. We'll go over a little bit how the Unity physics engine optimizes colliders and why we'll need to add a rigid body component to our consumable. And then in the next video, I'm going to show you how to actually pick up the consumables and add it to our overall score. Now these next two videos have heavy influence from a series from Unity themselves. I'm going to go ahead and add the link in the description of this video. Watching those videos aren't necessary for the purposes of what we're doing. Our series is all encompassing, but I'm going to go ahead and reference it just because we borrow a lot of ideas from those beginner tutorials. So for this video, let's go ahead and get started. For our purposes, we don't need to see the player object. So with player selected, we can go into the inspector, and next to the game object name, we have the isActive flag. Now unchecking it will make the player object disappear, and leaving it inactive, which gives us a clean board state for us to work with. We're going to go ahead and go into game object, 3D object, cube. Go ahead and reset this back to 0, 0, 0. This is going to be our consumable, or from now on, I'm going to call our gems, which is going to be our consumable. Raise it up to 1 here. So consumables are pickups in games like Mario or Donkey Kong Country or the Metroid series. They all have something flashy about them. They all have traits to them that make them pop and draw the player's eyes towards them. So for our gem, we're going to do two things. One, we're going to add a rotation to our gem, so that looks different from the Sonic platforms we have in the background. And two, we're going to give it a color that stands out against the background. Let's go ahead and rotate the gem at 45 for each point. Let's go ahead and rename this to gem first. And since right now the gem is the same scale as our player object, let's go ahead and bring it down a bit to 0.5. And if we zoom in here a bit, we can see that it's hovering just above the platform, which is perfect. We can guarantee that the player can collide with this gem in order to pick it up. So we're going to go ahead and apply the two things in the reverse order that I named them off. First, we're going to apply the material. So first, let's go down to the project hierarchy, go to materials, right click, create material, call this gem underscore matte for material. We'll go to the albedo on the inspector, and we'll choose like a really bright green. Go ahead and drag that onto the gem. That looks good. Actually, go ahead and add a metallic feel to it. See how that looks. That's a little too metallic. Let's go 0.5. That looks good there. And now let's go ahead and add a script to rotate the gem. So we're going to add component, and we'll go ahead and type in rotate. We'll go new script, add, create, and add. Now you notice I didn't add controller at the end of the script. It's because this particular script isn't and doesn't have to be exclusive to the gem object. The gem just happens to have the script. Take a look at gem, make sure it has it right there. Double click the script. And so we're going to go ahead and rotate the transform. Let's go ahead and make a public variable for a float of speed to allow the manipulation of the speed of the actual rotation. And let's create a private variable that is of type vector3 called rotation. And let's establish rotation and start. Let's separate these two. Say rotation equals a new vector3. And remember, this is going to be for the transform rotate. Let's put these at interesting rotation numbers. Let's say 45, 15, and the z-axis will go a little bit more. We'll go 90. We'll close that up. And then on the update function, we'll say this, which is what rotate is attached to. In this case, the gem. So the gem's transform. We'll rotate it. we're going to put in our vector 3, rotation. We're going to multiply it by speed. Let's add a space there. Speed. And we're going to multiply it by time dot delta time. Again, like from one of our previous videos, to make it time dependent as opposed to frame dependent. Let's close that up there. We'll go ahead and Control S for save. Let's go back to our editor. Go to the gem. We can see our speed variable. Let's go ahead and set that to 1, at least for now. Let's go ahead and take a look at how that looks. It should shine at certain angles because of the metallic. Yeah, you can see the shine is just it changing its color a little bit, like a really, really light blue-green is the shine, which looks really cool, and the rotation looks good. I think the speed of 1 is perfect, so we'll go ahead and stop there. Now there's one more thing that we have to change, and this is one of the things that I took from Unity's tutorial on creating consumables, is that the Unity physics engine does a sort of optimization for objects with colliders. It performs calculations and then caches the results, and it makes the assumption that said colliders are static. Now that's true with our objects like our platform and our ramp. They won't move, and so the calculations are done once, and are cached by the Unity physics engine, and never need to be changed again, and this is a great optimization tool that Unity provides. But in our gems case, because it rotates every frame, Unity is going to see that this particular game object's transform has changed, and thus a recalculation needs to be performed and a recaching needs to be performed, and this will happen with every frame. Now for one gem, it might not be a problem, but as we put down 1, 2, 3, 4, X amount of gems, this could be a huge performance hit on our game. Now, luckily, Unity has provided a way for us to prevent a recaching of colliders. And the way we do that is we add a rigid body, just like we did before to the player, and we select what's called isKinematic. And what that does is it allows us to animate the game object without any external forces interfering. So isKinematic comes in handy for stuff like elevators or moving platforms, where you don't want those platforms to be affected by physics, but we still want to be able to move them. And checking this checkbox will solve that problem for us. So let's go ahead and play that and make sure we didn't mess anything up. Awesome, still looks great. Now I'll leave it up to you guys to go ahead and mess around with these checkboxes. isKinematic, use gravity, and I encourage you to play around with those and add your player back into the scene and see how the player interacts with your gem when various things are turned on and off, so you get a better understanding of what the various attributes do in rigidbody. Now there's one more thing I want to do. As with any good game object that we want to reuse, let's go ahead and drag the gem into our prefabs folder so that we can reuse this in the future. And there we go. So make sure your gem is now a game object of the gem prefab. You can tell by it saying prefab underneath tag and layer. If not, that's no problem. Go ahead and right click this gem, delete, and just drag your prefab up here. And this one for sure should be of this prefab type. So let's go ahead and now put these gems in interesting places. Go ahead. I'll go ahead and put that one there. I'm going to hit Control D for duplicate, just as a shortcut here. That one there. Put this one right before the path there. Putting these gems on the edge to give the player incentive on going into those areas that I would never go into. There. And then we'll create maybe like a line right here. Go. And yours can vary, of course. Yours doesn't have to look like mine, obviously. That there. Make the player go out a little wide. Bring them back in here. And then guide them towards the ramp. Like so. Great. And now once we get up the ramp, the platform's a little higher. So this platform is at 0 and this one is at 2 on the y-axis. So let's go ahead and bring it up 2. So it's 1 before. Let's go ahead and make it 3. Great. Let's duplicate this. Let's make a little square here. Great. Put this on this ledge like that. this ledge, like so. I think 3 can fit here. Let's go ahead again. Make a square here, a little wider. Let's bring this out a little bit. And now we're on the more interesting portion. Put one there. And let's put one here. And we're going to make it 30 exactly. Let's put one here. Close to the end. We'll do something for the win state, put something here, so we'll leave that blank for now. I think we have 30 gems exactly. With a game state that looks fairly decent. So it's starting to look like a game, guys. Let's go ahead and create a new empty game object. Call this gems. Set the position to 0, 0, 0. Go ahead and grab all of our gem objects. Drag it into the gems parent. So as always, guys, it's best to test your game. See if the gems are in good places. So go ahead and press play here. So we'll traverse through the map here, just making sure that the gems are in interesting places. Now, because the gems do have a rigid body, and is kinematic is selected, they won't move when you collide with them, which is good. They'll stay in place. This is just to make sure that your gems are in interesting places as you traverse through the map. And we'll get to our end state here. Maybe. No, we won't. And I think that's it for this video. Our next video, we're going to show you how to actually pick up the gems, make them disappear when you do pick them up, and add them to a count variable that will be our score. As always, guys, if you liked the video, please give the channel a follow. Go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and leave us comments below, and we'll see you for the next video. Thanks, guys.